Hello everybody and welcome back to another dark and darker video. Today, we're going to see how it feels to play Rogue. And I am commentating over some high roller Rogue footage. And basically, we're just going to talk about how Rogue feels nowadays, because Rogue nowadays has been quote-unquote nerfed a lot. What actually happened to Rogue was that they nerfed gear a lot, and Rogue was very gear dependent. So if you had plus weapon damage, plus anything items scale better with faster attack speed, and Rogue attacks very quickly, so he scaled really well with items, unlike a lot of other characters. And because that has been removed from the game now, where you could probably get plus 70 weapon damage on a kit, and I think the max is like plus 11, plus 12 now. Because that has been removed, it has been a big nerf to Rogue. So we're just asking how it feels to play Rogue now. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not playing on Ruins, and that is because gold ore is no longer worth as much as it used to be as well. That was the method I liked to use to earn money on Rogue, and it just isn't very good anymore because gold ore just isn't worth all that much. It was being used as a store of value, and now you can buy a second stash for a reasonable price, and even a third and fourth one, but they keep getting more expensive as you buy them. And so people do not need them to hold space anymore, and it's not really a thing anymore. And you saw there I got 2 capes out of that chest. Don't want to run through that skeleton, and I don't want to run into these people. Hoping that these mummies will back me up here and block these people off, and they seem to. Closing the door behind me and running into the maze. The maze is a really good spot for a ratty rogue to be, especially with caltrops on, and makes it really easy to run away. Now, I wouldn't recommend caltrops actually on high roller crypts, because I think it's just better off to have hide on and be able to have the aggro from mobs that are on you go on to people who are chasing you. That can oftentimes slow them down a lot, which isn't really a thing you do on Ruins. It's just not very helpful to do that. But the enemies are a lot harder on high roller crypts, so it's more worthwhile. And I don't want to aggro those 2 skeletons in the middle, and this one actually came through, and so now I'm being forced to, and I'm thinking maybe I can just jump down, and there's more players over there. And you might be noticing this is a full lobby. I have done a lot of videos where they are not full lobbies. High roller crypts seems to usually have full lobbies now, but I can't seem to find any really reliable method of making certain it's a full lobby or like a half-empty lobby or anything like that. It seems very random. I was playing at a very normal time on a Saturday, a very normal time on a Sunday, and I was still running into lobbies that were half full, and then most of them were completely full though. And it really seemed to have no rhyme or reason to it with whether or not the lobbies would be full or not. And if you haven't noticed already, I'm running double jump, lockpick, poison weapon, and the troll face one that gives plus all attributes to you and your teammates. Basically, I'm trying to avoid all PvP here and just loot big chests. Ideally, what I want to do is run through like where a team has gone and they've already cleared out, but they don't have lockpicks, and steal their big chests. That would be ideal. Over here, we got a room full of spider mummies and a skeleton here. And this room's actually really good, by the way. There's a secret room next to it that has really good loot. And then this room has coffins, which have fairly good loot. They're basically just like a normal chest, except there's a lot of them. So, and normal chests will get you very good loot if you've got enough of them to loot. And right here, I'm checking to see which cloak is better, because I still have to wear one for the rest of the game, and I forgot to do that earlier because I had to run away quickly. We're going into the secret room here. And there's a zombie right there. And I should just be spam tapping, and I had not noticed that this bat was aggroed on me, and I got hit there. And what I always recommend you do is buy 3 gray health potions before going in. You'll likely need them, whether it be getting attacked by someone or just getting hit down a little bit by the mobs. And this is taking forever to kill him because I'm stabbing him in the feet and not in the head. And Rogue just does not do very much damage. Right there, I got some candy corn. Pretty terrible items. And items do not sell for as much this wipe as they did for last wipe. Last wipe, there was more gold in the circulation, so items went for more money. So nowadays, I think treasures are much more worthwhile to carry than most items or gear pieces are. And I would actually swap up my play a lot here and swap over to more treasures than gear pieces like I've been grabbing. And this room's pretty good because it has a lion's head chest and then also a potion spawn right there in the statue. And it can be a health potion or whatever. Can't be a clarity anymore because they removed those from the drop table. If you still have those, they're worth a lot now. And I found some boots there that I think are a little bit better than the other ones I had on. And that shield has physical damage reduction. I later on sell that for 100 gold. And it took me a long time to sell that. I tried for quite a bit to sell that. The reason why a physical damage reduction shield would sell for a lot is because Fighter is pretty good right now with physical damage reduction. And so they want physical damage reduction on their shield. It's not just like when they have their shield held up to protect themselves. As long as they have their weapon out and their shield out, it protects their whole body with that extra armor rating and that extra physical damage reduction. And right over here, I'm going to go through this door. And really, I basically never enter this room. You never spawn nearby to that room, and that room is almost always outside the zone. This is the rare exception. And you might be noticing something. I spawned really well within the zone this time. And if you've seen any comments about High Roller lately or anything like that, you might have seen that you can get really, really messed up by the PvE in High Roller. Not because the PvE itself is hitting you, but because you spawned really far from the zone and it takes a while to kill the PvE, especially on a character like Rogue. Rogue's DPS is terrible, absolutely atrocious. I don't think there is a class that has worse DPS than Rogue. And I miss my Rupture there, pathetically. And we're just gonna keep stabbing this thing until it dies. I hate the axe skeletons. I would highly recommend you just cheese axe skeletons wherever possible. Doing the thing where you rotate around them is very inconsistent, and I dislike doing it. The axe ones are so much harder than the sword ones. And I got the mage on me and the sword skeleton. I just wanted the sword skeleton, but I got them both, so we'll be just fine, though. And I want to have it fireball itself in the corner over there while I fight this guy. And there's a portal spawning to my right there over to the east. So I'm pretty good to go. And of course it bubbles itself. And in another video, I was complaining about how the red bubble is really inconsistent and how it just slows you down. And someone in the comments went, "Oh my gosh, Solomon figuring out that the purpose of PvE is to slow you down." If it's completely RNG-based slowing you down, that is pathetic and horrible game design. They should honestly just remove the red bubble from the game. It is very, very poorly designed, or just always make it his first attack or something. When it is RNG completely like that, you can get slowed down an extra 5 seconds just because the game decided to screw you over for no reason. And that can be the difference between you living or dying. And I absolutely hate that in a game like this. Now, of course, there are aspects that are RNG, like, say, the circle, right? But as you keep adding more of these, you could literally queue in with, like, a 10,000 gold set and just get completely screwed by your spawn 1% of the time. And that is extremely frustrating. If I'm going to bring in a 10,000 gold set, I want to get screwed over by playing poorly, not by just stupid RNG garbage. And we're just going to leave through the portal here. Okay, and we see some people who are very obviously Chinese gold farmers, and apparently they've made it so you can't see people's names in the lobby anymore. Like, before the game starts, it just shows you adventurer, which it kind of seems like they did that so that people aren't seeing how many Chinese gold farmers are in their game, so they don't get as angry with the game. That seems a little messed up to me. We got 180 gold off the sellables. We got some pendants that are really worth basically nothing. And we got 2 cloaks, each with physical damage pluses. So that's pretty good, but they're not very good cloaks. It's not like they have other good rolls, and the rolls don't fit together. And so I'm just going to shove those in the stash. I did try to sell them for a bit. I'm selling the purple Lightfoot boots with plus move speed on them for 150 gold. Might have been able to get more, but I honestly hate spending a whole bunch of time in trade chat. And yeah, I tried to sell the physical damage reduction shield and the cloaks right now, but they just weren't selling. I was playing fairly late at night on that one, and it just was not selling. So I just shoved them in the stash to sell for later. And this one is another full lobby. This time I'm playing in the middle of the day on Saturday, if I remember correctly. And I think the last one was Friday night, and it was also a full lobby. And Friday night was Veterans Day, so a lot of people online. That shield looked fairly good, but honestly, most people don't go for magic resistance anymore, so I'm not picking that up. I want to kill this archer up here before I go after anything else, because the archers are a pain to kill. And you don't want to be fighting them as you're fighting other things as well. If they shoot once, you can hit them once. If they shoot twice, you can hit them twice, as long as you're close enough. And it still really isn't worth looting, like, skeleton bodies or anything like that. It's definitely worth looting the skull bats still, because they drop good pendants, but skeleton bodies just are not worth very much. And I want to clear these guys out over here, because if I go for the area over there in the corner with a whole bunch of chests, I'm going to drag these guys anyways. And I just want to drag them out. And getting them to hit each other is always good. And my poisoned weapon killed that one on the right there. Now this guy's dead. And I'm still looting the skeletons, and honestly, it's not worthwhile to. Some Lightfoot boots, except I need to drop those. They're not, like, high tier or anything. And right here, I just want to drag the archer skeletons through the spike traps. That's way easier than me trying to kill them with my sword or anything like that. Just way easier to have them kill themselves. And I aggroed a skeleton on my bottom left there. I kind of thought it was up top for some reason. Need to kill this guy too. And then I need to drag out the other archer skeletons. And once again, I got lucky with the circle here. And you'll notice that consistently with these. When I get lucky with the circle, I have a good run. When I get unlucky with the circle, I have a bad run. It's not very complicated. It's very RNG based, and when you're playing solo already, you put yourself at a disadvantage with clearing. So that's just an aspect you have to keep in mind. Also, on the note of trading, the player count seems about the same as last wipe, but there are way less people using trade. I think this is because way less people have gold, yet they're still getting some decent gear items, so they're just making their gear sets off of things they find in-game, and then they're not bothering with trading. There's a lot of people that really hate the trading aspect of this game, and I get that. It can be tedious and take a long time, and just be absolutely problematic. And so a lot of those players, I think, have just completely fallen off the face of the earth as far as trading goes, which means it's harder to sell certain items and makes it harder to buy certain items. And really what this comes down to is I think we need an auction house. And I hope this doesn't end up whiplashing where the devs go and make an auction house and then eventually make it so you can't sell high-tier items on the auction house like what happened in Escape from Tarkov. That would make the game take a really long time to get good gear sets, and then your only people who would have really good gear sets are people who actually play 12 hours a day. Okay, we got some +2 true physical damage gloves there. Those are quite good. And that chest was pretty trash. Flat chests are basically just big normal chests. Those leather gloves have agility on them, but over 2 true physical damage. Nah, I'm not swapping for that. Blue pickaxe. I can go ahead and put that in my utility slot. And blue pickaxes sell for a half-decent amount to the shop anyways, like 15 gold or something. So they're probably worth putting in your utility slot just to sell immediately to the shop. They should also sell to people in the utility chat, but I tried to sell it in the utility chat, and no one wanted to buy it. The higher tier pickaxes mine faster, guys. So if you are a miner and you can get through like 20 goblin caves without dying, buy a better pickaxe from the trade chat. It will help you out a lot because you'll mine faster. And a couple good items in there. Like, I want the campfire kit, but my utility slot's already taken up with these surgical kits I found and all that jazz, so I don't really want to grab it. Because 4 slots in my inventory, I don't see that as worth. 1 slot in my utility is a different deal. Okay, we got a couple skull bats on me. And of course, you always want to loot the death skulls. They can have oil lanterns, Francisca axes, all sorts of things. And Francisca axes, that is another thing that should sell in the trade chat. But once again, I tried to sell the Francisca axes in the trade chat, a whole bunch of them at once. And they still were not selling. I think this is a symptom of less people using trade chat in general. And so don't expect things to sell that used to sell, guys. There's no guarantee with this new wipe. Just clearing out this room. And honestly, no one ever runs over to this corner of the map. And if you know your spawns really well and you've played a lot of High Roller, you're going to know what areas you're fairly safe in and what areas are fairly dangerous to be in. There's certain areas that people like to rush because they have good loot. This area does have good loot, but it's so far into the corner of the map that no one likes to go there. And it takes so long to clear that you'll basically never run into people in that corner I spawned in. And that brings me into the topic of when I'm playing Rogue, I definitely like to spawn in the corners more than I like to spawn in the middle. When you spawn in the middle, you definitely get rushed down very often, and it's really hard to play. And honestly, I should have taken that falchion there. Falchions still sell for quite a bit. Longbows sell for quite a bit still, although not as much as they used to. But falchions are definitely still highly desired. I should have grabbed that one there. And those boots are pretty trash. Okay. I'm going to activate this lever. And I don't know what happens to me here, but I have like actually full desynced from the server. It said not enough space there, which makes me think I have like a phantom item or something in my inventory, but I am full desynced from the server. I removed that shield from my inventory and I still can't pick things up. I can really only pick things up from chests now. I cannot pick items up off the ground, and I'm still wondering what is going on right now. I have never run into this bug before. It might be a new bug from the hotfix, but this bug is a catastrophe. I can't pick up items off the ground. This is really, really bad. And honestly, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here. So I drop another item and try and pick it up, and I still can't. And now I've lost 2 good items that were already in my inventory because I tried to drop them to pick up other items. And right there I was seeing, okay, maybe if I try Rupture and hit the ground or something, it might resync me. No, nothing is going to resync me here. I heard a portal open earlier on like the far distance of my range, which makes me think there is a static portal here. And I am going to try and get through the static portal and leave. And yep, there's a static portal right over here. Got to get through and get out of here. Okay, and I make it out, and we see some people who have some weird names there. Okay, we're selling all these items with like a half full inventory because I couldn't pick up all the items, and I get like 150 gold, and I have a couple items to sell as well. I really just wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible because when you're desynced like that, you can die in all sorts of weird ways. And then I put all this stuff in my inventory. Now, the really scary part about this desync is coming up. Just wait a sec here, guys, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I put these Francisca axes in my inventory to try and go sell them in trade chat, and I go back. I'm missing a stack of Francisca axes. Instead of Potion of Invisibility's there. Where did that come from? I don't know where that came from. I know I'm missing a stack there, and oh, what happens? I try and go back over that slot, and it gets phantom filled in. I don't know, but I think this possibly could cause a dupe glitch. I am not certain, but it sure seems like that. I restart my game, sell the longbow for 50 gold. After restarting, that fixed it. But it definitely seemed like that could have been used to cause a dupe bug, whatever happened to me there. And I don't know what caused that. And I'm selling the cloaks from the other game for 100 gold each. Items just really are not worth as much this wipe, and 100 gold, I was getting trades fast. I probably could have sold them for a bit more, but I didn't want to sit in trade chat forever. I don't like sitting in trade chat for a long time. Right here, I'm waiting for the person to tell me which item they want, but they actually wanted both items. And so I sell the shield for 100 gold and the cape for 100 gold from that other match. And you see a whole bunch of other gold in my inventory. I was selling a whole bunch of stuff from another video I recorded the other day as well. And I finally got it all sold. And right here, I end up selling my pickaxes, my Francisca axes, straight to the shop. Because I'm like, this is not worth the time to sell these. And I'm in again. And right here, I got a fairly good spawn. These rooms have some big chests on them. Just smacking these mummies over the head. And we have the mage over there, which I want to drag over the spikes. I'm trying to drag it. Just gonna bop it in the back of the head. And here comes the skeleton. We're gonna drag him over the spikes as well. It's way easier to just drag him over the spikes than it is to fight them. And this is the main benefit you get of double jump on crypts. Double jump is not nearly as good on crypts, by the way. It is not a must-have, but it is pretty good. And still, the enemies are not really worth looting. Much better to spend your time opening up chests. And too bad neither of these were lion's head chests. And of course, that is a mimic. Mimics are really stupid now. Because not only do they give your position away just based off RNG, but also they just completely remove like a good chest roll from the game. Mimics used to have better loot than chests. And nowadays, they just have useless loot, and you compare them to the chest you would have gotten, and it's like, wow, I wasted my time killing that enemy. So I recommend that you don't kill them anymore. If you can just run away and not waste time killing them, do so. Because they are not worth the time to kill. And got it to fireball the mummy there. That was not my goal, but succeeded anyways. Succeeded when I wasn't even trying. And now it's on the spikes. That's good. It's taking some damage. And mummy went down quick because of all that fire damage. Gonna drag this axe guy over the spikes as well. Poison him in the head there. And I can do this where I just go back and forth and poke him in the head over and over, but I really want him to go over the spikes. And you can still hear the mimic in the other room bouncing back and forth. Kind of giving my position away, but not too bad. We get a lion's head chest here. And that is a 3 magical healing crystal sword. A warlock would definitely buy that. I can generally sell those with 3 magic healing for like 100 gold. And it's a purple one on top of that, so not too shabby. Crystal swords are extremely bad now, though. They are not very good anymore. They used to be really good because you could stack both magical damage and physical damage. And they actually can activate both of those at once. And you could also do Warlock's Blow of Corruption on top of that to roll 3 sets of plus damage attributes all at the same time. And you could do like 250 damage in a hit if you had a really, really good set. But that is not possible anymore. And because they've nerfed attributes in general, that has nerfed the Crystal Sword a lot. That doesn't mean the Crystal Sword is entirely useless still if you get one with super good rolls, but it is an incredibly bad item now, generally. But if you get one with super good rolls, I would still pick it up. And super good rolls would generally be that +3 magic healing that I just picked up. And we get another mimic. Fun! I have had 2 chest rolls just completely dumpstered from me this game. That's cool. And this church room right here is pretty heavy on PvP, but it does have a couple good chests in it. And I hear a person coming towards me, and I'm going to try and close this door behind them. And I don't want to kill that skeleton there because I want it to block them off for me. And I'm thinking of what direction to go here because both PvE is a problem and PvP is a problem. And there's a group to my south there. I think that's the same people chasing me. I do have hide on this time, though, which is really good because that means I can de-aggro the mobs and I can run straight into this room that has a ton of PvE in it. And I can even loot this lion's head chest and get away with it. And I'm just grabbing this longsword without even seeing what's on it. I just wanted to loot and scoot. And I don't mean to just be aggroing all these mobs for no reason, but I'm trying to figure out what direction to go and where I would be safest here. And the answer is I would be safe nowhere. Nowhere at all would I be safe. And apparently you can't go into hide with a torch out. I have not played much rogue, especially not much rogue with hide on. So don't expect me to be the best rogue player ever. And there's a room to my south here that there are players inside of, and they moved up on me, and they are trying to hunt me down. This is really problematic. I'm going to just try and not make noise. Luckily, that archer skeleton is not aggroing on me. They're coming up to me regardless, though, and they're opening up into this room. I think, okay, rapier, what do I do? What do I do? Don't want to give my position away exactly, and I don't want to run back into that archer. I have a Molotov. Good. I blocked him off. I closed the door. Get me out of here. And the spiders always make you rubber band around, which is really cool feature. At this point, I'm considering that a feature, even though it is definitely not and should be considered a bug, and really makes the game worse. We're gonna go in this door, close it up, and they're still chasing me. They are still in this area to the south. They aggroed these mummies as they were trying to chase me. I think they're a bit further than that, though. They kind of don't want to go into that room because they don't want to fight the mummies. And this mimic is coming after me. Wow, this is fun. Close the door, and we're on the Hell Shrine. So that's really good. And I'm going to heal myself, and the mummy is on me instead, and I have a zombie on me, which is not cool, so I'm just going to stab them in the head. Bop them in the head over and over. Eventually they go down. We open up the chests here, and these rooms here actually have quite a bit of loot, but the 4 square room that I am in right now, these 4 connected rooms, is really high on PvP. So keep that in mind, guys. Only go here if you absolutely have to. I'm opening up this lever in case I have to leave before I loot this final chest. Green spellbook, not worth picking up. Those always used to sell for 50 gold, but that is not a thing anymore. People can just buy the blue spellbooks from the shop if they really need them. And I oftentimes re-loot the same chests that other people have already looted because you can open them very quickly, and sometimes they leave behind items for your class that were not useful for their class. Not the case this time, but I was trying. Okay, we loot that right there. And there's nothing in it. And most people don't know about this trick. You can loot this lion's head chest right here from the back end. And it was locked already, so that might also be the reason why they didn't open it. And I'm trying to figure out what to drop here so I can pick up these plate pants. It shouldn't have been those Lightfoot boots. I should not have dropped those, and I've given myself quite the hard time here. I should drop the old cloth so I can pick up the plate pants. I'm trying to figure it out. There we go. Figured it out. And Tetrising is its own little skill set in these games. Trying to figure out how to open up this chest now because it's being a problem. And we get the plate pants. Those plate pants are not the greatest ever, but they give a lot of extra spell capacity, which a cleric might like and might spend 100 gold on. Doesn't make it the best item ever, but it would probably sell. And I heard a portal spawn this way, so I'm just trying to find that. And I see some buffed up guys over there. And I try and open up this door. And that is a dead end. Ah, mega fail. I should have just jumped over the spike trap from the get-go. And I land in it on accident. They also just run straight through it. And this guy does half my health in one hit. So that's cool. I'm just going to try and run as fast as I can. And I am dead. Guy ran me down extremely quickly. Kind of ridiculous how fast he is. Okay, and wait a second. Before I leave, what are those guys' names? We're on the US West server. Why are there people with Chinese names on the US West server? And this was in the middle of today, which is Sunday. What is happening here? Why is half of every US West server Chinese players? I can't imagine how bad it already is on Oceania, and I can't say for certain if these people were hacking, not hacking. It's hard to say, but I can definitely tell you throughout the games I played, it seemed like people were ESPing. They were wall hacking a little bit because they'd come after me whenever I had really good loot on, and if I didn't have anything on, no one would come to PvP me. And I've seen a lot of people say that Rogue feels bad to play now, and they might not be wrong. But I'm questioning if balance is actually the reason why Rogue feels bad to play now. Or if it's actually because a lot more players have installed wall hacks or ESP, or if they're using the trick where another fourth friend queues in and then dies immediately and then spectates you the whole round. And so they can see you and your stealth is effectively worthless, making the class's whole character effectively worthless. Anyways, guys, make certain to like and subscribe for more.